Today we have a loaded Locked On Nationals for you as the Fredericksburg Nationals have won the Carolina League. And also the Nationals have finally gone to a six-man rotation. Why do they make that decision now?
You are Locked On Nationals, your daily Washington Nationals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcast. And of course, I'm your host, Ryan Clary. You can catch me over on Twitter at RyanClary11 and as well as our show page at LO_Nationals for all your latest Nationals news and notes. Make sure to check us out over on Twitter. And while you're at it, make sure to search up Locked On Nationals wherever you get your podcasts, whether that's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and of course, on YouTube as well. Just search up Locked On Nationals and hit that subscriber button, please. Later on in today's show, the Nationals have a 4-game set starting tonight with the Chicago Cubs up at Wrigley Field. So we'll get into that a little bit later on in today's show. In the second segment, the Nationals have finally gone to a 6-man rotation. But we start off with discussing the low-A affiliate of the Washington Nationals being champions. The Fredericksburg Nationals, led by many top prospects in this organization, have won the Carolina League. And I'm just going to say this, it is very important to win at a young stage. I'll explain that, but today's show is brought to you by FanDuel, and now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Just visit FanDuel.com to get started. So we get started today discussing the low-A affiliate, Washington Nationals, the Fredericksburg Nationals, rather. They have won the Carolina League, and this is an important step for a lot of big prospects. And I think getting into it, let's just kind of go through the roster here of the big prospects who, from this draft class, who are there. Seaver King, first-round pick. Caleb Lomavita, first-round pick. Elijah Green, first-round pick. Christian Vaquero, highest signing bonus in Nationals history as far as international signings go. He's there. Travis Sykora, the best pitching prospect this organization has to offer. He's there. Alex Clemmie, probably the best left-handed pitching prospect the Nationals have. He's there as well. This is a loaded roster. Absolutely loaded of prospects. So getting into it and why it's so important to win at a young age, and not just that, to just win in general, it's a huge deal. And you've seen this with Orioles prospects because the Orioles, they've won AAA championships for seamlessly, feels like the last few seasons. And the Orioles, now you see them now competing for a postseason spot, and really even furthermore than that, they're competing for a World Series. This is an important stepping stone, not only just winning the Carolina League, but learning how to win every single day. The biggest adjustment for a lot of these guys, especially for an Elijah Green out there, or a Travis Sykora, kids coming from high school, you play 2 to 3 times a week, if that. And then you go to play 5 to 6 times every single week. It is a big adjustment right then and there. Automatic off the jump. A lot of these guys take some time to develop, obviously, because you're coming out of high school. But also, the development portion of it is settling a routine. And if you're winning, like the Fredericksburg Nationals were doing, that routine becomes completely different. Learning to win at a young stage, especially for a minor league affiliate filled with top prospects, which the Fredericksburg Nationals were, it's going to be huge in the development for the long run. Just learning how to win. Because there's one thing where if you play for a bad affiliate, it's whatever. It's really not the end of the world because it is nice to win. But that's not really the goal of the Nationals. The goal is to develop prospects. But if you can develop prospects and also win at the same time, that becomes the expectation for those guys, for your top prospects, for your Travis Sykora, your Seaver King, your Elijah Green, Alex Clemmie. So let's get into it, because then FredNats did play a doubleheader yesterday, and it was highlighted by Alex Clemmie, who started game 2 of the Carolina League Championship. So he started the first game, and the first inning, he struck out the side. It's always what you want to see. And Alex Clemmie, all season long, has had this huge strikeout rate, and we all kind of expected him to do just that. But getting into it, he finished yesterday's performance not all that great. 4 1/3 innings pitched, 9 strikeouts, 1 walk, 5 hits, and 3 earned runs in those 4 1/3 innings pitched. But Alex Clemmie did look really good from all accounts there. Considering he only had 1 walk through 4.1 innings pitched, and even looking deeper into it, he only gave up a handful of hits, 5 hits over 4 1/3. Alex Clemmie is still 18 years old. This is still quite literally a kid. Someone who shouldn't just be getting out of high school. He's still very young, very raw. And to start in a championship series game, which, by the way, you already had the 1-0 lead going into it because they won game 1. So they did eventually lose in game 2 of that series. But unfortunately for the opposing team, you had Travis Sykora on the bump for game 3 in the winner-take-all game. Travis Sykora in game 3, which was the big highlight in my opinion, because the FredNats in the first game, or in the second game rather, they did not have any offensive explosion whatsoever. A lot of the top guys went 0 for. I believe there's only 1 hit out of the top 4 guys in that lineup. But in the third game, in the final game, winner-take-all game, Travis Sykora went 5 innings pitched, gave up 1 hit, struck out 9, no walks, and he finished this season 95 innings pitched and 147 strikeouts. Travis Sykora, number 1, the walk rate for this season, for your first full professional season, is out of this world good. And I cannot say that enough. And then on top of that as well, you have Elijah Green, 2022 first-round pick. He hit a triple in the game. Caleb Lomavita, 2 for 3 yesterday. The Nationals comp round 1A pick from this last year, number 39 overall pick in this year's draft. He went 2 for 3 with 2 singles. And also on top of that, Travis Sykora was named Carolina League Pitcher of the Year just yesterday. These are huge stepping stones for guys who are learning to play every single day. And again, to kind of put a bow on this conversation, these guys are learning how to win at this level. It is a big step into hopefully becoming a contending postseason team within the next few seasons. Because it's not all that crazy to say that Caleb Lomavita or Seaver King, and especially Travis Sykora, will be up in the majors in the next 2 seasons. In fact, if I'm Travis Sykora, or if I'm Mike Rizzo, thinking ahead of time, I'm thinking that Travis Sykora could probably be in the majors in about a year and a half, by 2026. I think that is totally reasonable at this point to even believe in that. But also, even furthermore than that, we all know Elijah Green's struggles. We know that he has struggled with strikeout rate and everything in between, really, besides defense. But even him coming up big and finishing the season strong, I expect him to be at high A Wilmington to start off next season. And hopefully he can have some corrections this offseason after his second full season, and we can see what happens with them. But it was really cool to see them win the Carolina League. I got to watch it last night, had the double screen action watching the Nats get, blown out against the New York Mets. And then seeing your FredNats win the Carolina League Championship with Travis Sykora on the bump with our guy Eric Bach on the call. So I thought that was a really cool moment for the Nationals, really cool moment for all these young prospects. And in the long run, it's really going to pay off. So kudos to them. Kudos to the organization. They deserve it. They're a very good team, and it's cool to see that. So I wanted to talk about that, but now we do have big news. The Nationals have finally gone to a six-man rotation as Trevor Williams is going to be activated off the injured list and is making his return to the big league club. So let's highlight what the six-man rotation is, and also, Davey, why do you make this decision now? Why wasn't this made a few weeks ago? As I just hiccup right then and there. So we will get into that. But before we talk about it, I'm going to tell you guys about our friends over at Arena Club. And for most of us that like collecting cards, the idea of spending $2,000 or more on a Elly De La Cruz card or maybe a Shohei Ohtani rookie card just isn't in the cards. I love collecting, but that's some serious money to drop. And thanks to slab packs from arenaclub.com, now it's possible to score gem mints for a fraction of the retail price. Every card that I listed was hit from last week's Arena Club slab pack drop. And Arena Club is the only repack that provides real value, a complete view of all possible cards, and clear hit rates for each one. Arena Club slab packs are revolutionizing the repack game with transparency. And after your pulls are revealed, they'll immediately be placed in your showroom for safe keeping, selling, trading, or even auctions as well. So right now you can get 10% off your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/lockedonmlb and use code lockedonmlb. That's arenaclub.com/lockedonmlb, code lockedonmlb for 10% off your first purchase. Now we get back into it with the Nationals going to a six-man rotation. And finally, we are here. The Nationals and Davey Martinez, you did it. A few weeks ago, I was kind of calling for Davey Martinez to finally go to a six-man rotation. And the argument is that you have all these young pitchers right now, DJ Hurts, Mitchell Parker, Mackenzie Gore, Jake Irvin. These guys need to be spaced out. Each and every one of them are reaching their career high in innings pitch at any single level. And now you also have Patrick Corbin, who's the fifth guy in this rotation. Now you have Trevor Williams coming back for the final 9-10 days of the season to make a six-man rotation. First off, I'm happy. This is what I want to see. But also, why didn't this come earlier? And this is not to say that why isn't Trevor Williams activated off the injured list and to come back prematurely? That's not what I'm saying. I don't think that's what anybody wanted, in fact. But to say that you shouldn't have done this earlier, it's just wrong. You have plenty of horses in the stable in order to make this possible. And now that Trevor Williams is number one healthy and should be in the rotation, yeah, this is the right decision. Trevor Williams has been very good this season before he got hurt back earlier on this summer. And this should have been happening, in my opinion, at the beginning of September. Guys that we have gotten into as to why the Nationals should have gone to a six-man rotation, well, there's plenty of reasons as to why. Number one, Brad Lord. Brad Lord hasn't been killing it like he was down in Double-A this season, but he has still been pretty damn solid. I would have liked to see some eyes on him up at the major league level, especially since the rosters do expand at the beginning of September. And you just need to create space on this roster, and you need to have guys up in the majors who seem to be ready, which Brad Lord seemed to be pretty damn ready, in my opinion. Even if he wasn't killing it at AAA, even if he had some fall-offs here recently, Brad Lord is someone that you should be seeing in the major leagues. And the reason why I say that and why it has to be this year is because going into next season, you're probably not going to have Trevor Williams. You aren't going to have Patrick Corbin. So you do open up some spots in the starting rotation here. But my assumption is that the Nationals will be making moves at some point to add to the starting pitcher staff, whether that's via trade, signing a veteran free agent, or Maybe someone within the organization comes up like a Brad Lord, and maybe I'm wrong next season. But you need to see guys like him who may not get every opportunity to be an everyday starting pitcher and get him up in the majors and set some eyes on him. This September, you're not competing for the postseason. We all knew that. We knew that about a month and 2 months ago. We were like, okay, we're waving the white flag. The Nationals at one point in time were actually kind of in the wild card race, but that fell off pretty damn quick. You're one of the bottom few teams in the National League at this point. But now we do go to a 6-man rotation, and it just feels like it's too late. It feels like you're not going to be able to see guys like Brad Lord get their opportunities, and you might be sitting here thinking, this is a total overreaction, and you're right. It probably is. But the reason why I say this is because the only opportunities that Brad Lord could probably get is if someone gets hurt next season. And to me, that just isn't good enough. This should have been a big plan, in my opinion. This should be the reason why you go into September thinking, let's go to a 6-man rotation. I want to see Brad Lord. They should want to see Brad Lord. And hell, even if it isn't Brad Lord, Jackson Rutledge. It's not even just about seeing him. It's not just about seeing Brad Lord or laying your eyes on Jackson Rutledge and giving him kind of one last opportunity here. Again, it's about stretching out your young stable with what you have right now. Because again, this Nationals team, they're good. You want to see guys pitch every single day. You want to see the bullpen do well. You want to see Zach Brixey come in late in games and have closing opportunities and do all sorts of things. You want to see Jose Ferrer, but also you kind of want to stretch out your starting pitchers. That is an important factor here, especially coming down the stretch here as you complete the 162-game marathon. It's not the end of the world, and it just isn't. But still, why do you make this decision now? That part did not really make total sense to me. So we'll see what happens. Trevor Williams will get like 2 starts here to finish the season, maybe only 1 start. I don't know what the math is at this point in time, but they made the decision. They're sticking with it, but let's talk a little bit more baseball as the Nationals-Mets series did wrap up here. And getting into it, the Nationals, I mean, listen, you're facing a red-hot Mets team today, or you faced them over the last 4 games here. The Nationals lost 10-0 last night, and it wasn't pretty. You lost 3 straight games against those pesky New York Mets. You got swept. It's fine. But really, furthermore into that, the postseason hunt here, the Mets needed that really badly. Because now sitting here today in the 3rd wild card spot, they sit 2 games above the Atlanta Braves, entering really the final week and a half of this season. That is a huge get for them, by the way. A massive one. And now you face the Chicago Cubs, who are 7 games back. They've lost their last two games here. And it's now coming down to the 2 NL East teams for the final wild card spot. And I got to give a shout out to my guy, Vic Ferreira, producer of the Washington Nationals Radio Network. He called this a few months ago and said the Atlanta Braves will not be a postseason team. It's not over yet, but at this point in time, entering last night, I got this little nugget. The New York Mets sneakily might be the 2019 Washington Nationals. Might be. If you look at it, they started out 22-33, and since then, they are 62-35. They have been red hot for the last few months. One of the hottest teams in all of baseball. And nobody's really talking about this Mets team, and I hate to be the one to talk about them and to give them credit, but my God, you have to think to yourself, who wants to face this Mets team at this point? They're pitching pretty damn well. Their offense is doing very well, in my opinion. Francisco Alvarez, he's been hitting the ball pretty well lately. Their offense is humming. This Mets team, I hate to say it, but you don't really want to face them at this point in time. So, Starling Marte as well, doing very well. Pete Alonso, is Pete Alonso still? He's been hotter. We'll see what this Mets team can do once the postseason comes, but yeesh, that was a tough series for the Nationals. I'd have liked to see them take at least one of those 3 games against them, but we'll see what happens. It's going to come down to the wire, in my opinion, between the Mets and the Atlanta Braves. So we'll see what happens moving forward, but now let's preview this Cubs-Nats series. Before we get into it, I'm going to tell you guys about our friends over at FanDuel. And of course, you all heard us talk a lot about FanDuel, which is America's #1 sports book. Well, we have something a little different for you. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then with a YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out of market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime. Again, now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Hurry up while this offer is still there. It will not be here in 3 days from now. So all you'll have to do is go to FanDuel.com and again, download America's #1 sportsbook. And of course, you can get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket with any $5 bet. Thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcast. So let's preview this Nats Cubs series, as tonight you've got Patrick Corbin on the bump, and it's probably his second to last start as a Washington National. Does Patrick Corbin have another gem left in him? I don't know at this point in time. But furthermore, tomorrow will probably be Trevor Williams if I had to bet. We'll see. The Nationals have still yet to decide on what will happen over these next few games here. But tonight you do have Patrick Corbin, and they have Jameson Taillon on the mound for the Chicago Cubs, who has been pretty damn good for them all season long here. But at this point in time, I like playing spoiler. I don't really think you're going to be spoiling too much with the Cubs. You're going to have the Mets lose a lot of games, and the Cubs are going to have to win a lot as well. In my opinion, I think this series could actually be one the Nationals kind of sneakily attack and take 3 of 4. The Chicago Cubs know that they're probably out of it at this point. Mathematically, they aren't, but you're 7 games back with like 10 days to go left in the season. You need some real magic. And I don't think the Chicago Cubs really have that in them. If the Nationals do beat them tonight, it's going to be basically impossible for the Cubs to pull it off. They are playing for a postseason spot tonight. Luckily for them, they're going up against Patrick Corbin, so there's that. But overall, wouldn't it feel kind of nice to take a few games at Wrigley Field? Davey Martinez, old stomping grounds. It would feel pretty damn good to me. And again, we'll see what the Nationals can do over these next 4 days, but we'll have a bigger conversation on this game in this series tomorrow as we enter the weekend. And then, of course, this is the second to last weekend of Nationals baseball. So you're going to have to enjoy it while you can, because unfortunately, the baseball season will be wrapped up for the Nationals in just a few days from now. So we'll have that preview for you on tomorrow's show, preview the weekend, see what Patrick Corbin can do tonight. And if the Nationals win, it's going to feel pretty damn good. So I will catch you guys on the flip side. Have a good one. Go Nats.